be live. I got to do a couple Twitch or posts on X to get our live notification out there. We are live. There we go. Whoops. All right. Well, now we'll put our Twitch link here. Control C. Put the picture up that we're using for my thumbnail. Open. Post. Twitch. YouTube. Oh, YouTube. YouTube page. The YouTube page. My channel. Copy. Paste. Switch it to post. Okay, close the YouTube one. Cypher PK is live now. Click post. Hashtag kick. Post. And then Rumble. Share. Copy the link. Oh, yep, we need to. Rumble. Share. Copy Rumble post. All right. So we'll be going through X, looking at how spineless all these GOP leaders have been lately. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. over here, sorry guys. La Facebook. But yeah, we'll be going through X, watch a couple of videos on X, a couple of videos on YouTube, play a little bit of Marvel Rivals Comp. Yeah. 1 minute. Okay, YouTube, darn it. Don't know why I keep taking that page or closing my YouTube. But if you'd like to watch, I'm live on all platforms. So if one platform has too many commercials for you, you can go to YouTube and watch one thing of commercials. Have no monetization. Twitch, I think, has ads running, but that is what it is. Twitch is going to run ads no matter what I do, so. Preview to this one. And a post. Oh, my legs are spasming like crazy today. So you might see my body move kind of weird throughout the stream. Nerve damage is a son of a gun for sure. Close that tab. Don't need that all open. Everything's muted here, right? Muted. Phone set up. Sorry, give me a second. Close. Line. There we go. Okay. All right. Oh, hello. My hair sucks. Well, that's nice. My hair's all over the place. I don't even know what I look like. Start with hello, friend. How you're doing, and then your hair sucks. And that's very nice of you. The loser. All right. I just brushed it too. All right. Let's see. Anything crazy happening? Tammy Duckworth voted in support of a resolution that would force Trump to get congressional approval before using military force against Venezuela. Senate Republicans blocked it, ceding their constitutional authority to Trump once again. They bent the knee to I want to be king. What's the issue with these people and striking drug boats? Now the left is just trying to save every narco terrorist it can. Hold on. Cyrus. Kick. Oh, thank you, Kick. Yeah, that's not interesting. What I don't like is on any of these posts, You don't have any actual figures from the GOP countering their points or bringing any, like, saying anything against it. They're inactive on X, or at least on my X in the majority of these posts. So, deleting your comment about my hair. I don't like you anymore. I'm going bold because of drugs. Right. All the action over here. Some newbie too. Probably got his banned previously. I think I remember him following me on Twitch. Him, them, it. Not on Twitch, on the X. Same difference. Yeah, I don't get why they're so trying to save these people. Like, I can tell you 95% certain that most of the people that fish in Venezuela cannot afford a boat like this with 4 outboard engines. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4, 3 outboard engines. And then having barrels upon barrels of stuff. There's probably like a couple barrels of fuel and a couple barrels of drugs. Cartel has been committing chemical warfare against the U.S. for way too long. Quinn followed me 2 days ago and just wanted to comment that my hair sucks. I had to wait 15 minutes. Okay, I can't afford a haircut right now, so I'm choosing not to get one. Now, where do I go? Yeah, exactly. That's funny. CBD toilet paper so you can calm your ass down. A Zoran Mandani supporter complains that she never experienced true oppression until she converted to Islam. True. Before I was just a white woman. Now I face oppression and dehumanization on a daily basis. People look at me differently. Any advice? Well, yeah. You went to a religion that doesn't respect women. Your opinion is half of a man's. New Hampshire's first transgender elected rep, Stacey. What is this? Pleaded guilty to child exploitation charges. He reportedly asked his partner, who worked on a daycare, to send him nude photos of kids. Eric Swalwell campaigned with him. Ew. People are gross. Absolutely gross. Killing the court decision requiring it to provide full food assistance to Americans. Well, it's kind of the Democrats' fault that they aren't voting yes on this clean resolution. Dems need to get their butts moving. And then there's my Governor Josh Shapiro, building a stronger Commonwealth for Pennsylvanians of all ages. We've invested in our kids, put more money back in our senior pockets, opened new doors of opportunities for folks all across Pennsylvania, and so much more. How about what about the property taxes? Cheaper to live in the city with property taxes than it is to live where I am. I didn't get any chips. It is. Hmm. Healthcare costs skyrocketing, flights canceled, children and seniors going hungry. Donald Trump. This dude passed out yesterday. Goodness. Yeah. Putting his feet over his head, I guess, to get blood to his heart and his brain. And Trump was telling somebody. Yeah, the photo is kind of taking it out of context, making the president look uncaring is true. Because I did see the video, he was worried about this guy. I think he was telling somebody to get medical or something like that. Democrats. Yeah, Tim Walz is a joke. Keep driving like an old F1. Or is it a propeller plane? The only plane they got in the Air Force? $147 aircraft. What aircraft does it unmanned combat aerial vehicles. Yeah, but how many of each? Yeah, they do have prop planes. T1? What is this? Dassault Dornier Alpha Jet. 27 pictures. That's like the British aircraft. I forget. They're UAVs. That's a Brazilian. 12 of them in service. On Chengdu J-17. That's Vietnam Air fighter jet. Yeah, Vietnam era fighter jet. 24 of these in order. Alpha jet. 2003 to present? Ow. Alex A29 is a Brazilian turboprop light attack and counterinsurgency aircraft designed and built by precision guided munitions and was designed to be a low cost system operated in low threat environments. And they have three of these. Yeah, that's hilarious. Nigeria. Yeah, this dude. That's hilarious. Oh, Nina Lynn.
I didn't even think TMZ. You know what's so crazy? I never thought that many people were watching me. I really didn't. I didn't even think TMZ was watching me. I got a call from TMZ this morning, bro.
What did they say?
They're like, we want your side of the story. I'm like, listen, man, I'm not even gonna argue with these little bitches. Like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? We live on, we be better, bro. That's it. We gotta keep it pushing. And I'll say one more thing, and y'all know who this is, bro. That weird motherfucker that lives in the basement of his mom's house that be chatting about me all damn day long. You are obsessed with me. I think you in love with me. No cap. I genuinely think you get no pussy and you in love with me, bro. Like,
So
you gotta chill
ignorant.
out. It's been way too many clips I've seen you, bro. Like, you low-key obsessed. I'm flattered, but you gotta chill. No cap. Heard you don't even drink water. So you gotta fix that. I'm not gonna lie. You're like 47 years old. You gotta fix that. I'm sorry. Okay, anyways. Love you guys. You know what's so crazy? I never thought that many people were watching me. I really didn't. I didn't even think TMZ was watching me. I got a call from TMZ this morning, bro.
What did they say?
They're like, we want your side of the story. I'm like, listen, man, I'm not even gonna argue with these little bitches. Like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? We live on, we be better, bro. That's it. We gotta keep it pushing. And I'll say one more thing, and y'all know who this is, bro. That weird motherfucker that lives in the basement of his mom's house that be chatting about me all damn day long. You are obsessed with me. I think you in love with me. No cap. I genuinely think you get no pussy and you in love with me, bro. Like, you gotta chill out. It's been way too many clips I've seen you, bro. Like, you low-key obsessed. I'm flattered, but you gotta chill. No cap.
Yeah, no, I don't like girls like her. Can't stand the way they talk. Yeah, what you gonna do? I say Asmongold live on stream. Rather smell Asmongold's room than be friends with her. All right, who's ready to get their ears screeched out?
I am 22 years old. I have no children, and I'm getting my tubes tied. Now, a lot of people would be very shocked by this claim. I'll tell you a few of the things that I have heard. That's such a permanent decision. Don't you think you're going to regret it one day? Oh, you're going to meet a lovely man, and you're going to want children with him one day. Don't take away this opportunity to have kids. Oh, but the side effects, do you realize how invasive the procedure is?
Yeah, doesn't it make you go through menopause earlier too? Isn't that one of the side effects of getting your tube tied at like such a young age?
Why don't you just use the pill instead? Why don't you just use one of the reversible hormonal methods? Why don't you use the copper IUD?
Yeah, and it does mess with your hormones as well.
Instead, it doesn't have hormones, so
Makes
it shouldn't
chemically
affect
imbalanced.
you. No, okay?
She's
To
already
all of this,
crazy.
no. My family was even able to testify on my behalf and say that I have never had an interest in having children. Didn't matter if I was with a male or a female, or any time for that matter, I have never once decided that I want kids in the future. And here's what I told my doctors to convince them that I actually want this tubal ligation. I would rather regret losing the ability to have children and my life remains the status quo than have a child that I regret that I have to commit to for the rest of my life. Because in at least one of those scenarios, at least I get to choose what happens.
I mean, she gets to choose both ways what happens. You deal with the consequences of having sex. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. But she wants to sleep around freely, and she's probably gonna get all kinds of STDs, whatever.
Now, to the claim that I will meet a man one day and want to have children with him. I've already met that man. I don't want children with him. I love our relationship, and he doesn't care whether or not we have kids. He is very supportive of me making
He
this
will
decision.
eventually.
And if he wasn't supportive, he could fuck all the way off. Because I will not ever be having children for a man. As a woman, it is not my responsibility to bear children for a man.
Really? Kind of going against the whole concept of her reproductive system. Come on. How do people take any of what she's saying seriously?
Man. But That being said, I'm glad I'm not in that situation. God bless. Now, for the other two claims, here's the thing about hormonal birth control and how invasive the procedure is for the tubal ligation. First of all, at least with the tubal ligation, I get general anesthesia. I have undergone several IUD insertions and removals at this point, and they are so incredibly painful. I never got any pain management or anything. I did them completely raw. And let me tell you, I think that those are way more invasive, especially since you're awake, than being under general anesthesia and getting a little slip and a snip. Not to mention, I think having unalive ideation with every hormonal birth control method is invasive enough. It's not like I haven't tried them all. I have. The common denominator is all of them made me severely depressed. Let's start with the Nexaplanon. As you can see, I'm not BSing you. I did actually get the Nexaplanon when I was 16. Intense unexplained weight gain. I was an athlete. I practiced almost 7 days a week. And I was gaining weight like crazy. And when you are that young, and when your dream job is to model...
Shouldn't be having sex at that age to begin with. Not like I'm one to speak, but sheesh. These are for birth control is for developed adults. And I don't really think they test on teenagers. I'll have to look that up, but like there are side effects because you're going through hormonal changes as a teenager already. And then adding birth control into the equation just there's such unknown ramifications. I honestly think that's why people have so many miscarriages nowadays, or girls aren't able to get pregnant or having miscarriages. But because they've been on birth control for so long, it's sad. Really, because now they want kids. But back then they just wanted to be able to sleep around and not use a condom.
And when you just want to feel beautiful in your own body, that is mentally devastating. Not to mention the breakthrough bleeding, which has always been a problem with me on every birth control method. I shouldn't have to bleed every day of my silly little life just because you won't give me a tubal.
Kind of what girls do.
Now, you would probably say, oh, what about the shot? It's quick and easy and doesn't require any invasive procedures. Okay, I bled for the entire time that I was on that shot, never got it again, and I wanted to... I think that's enough for me to say no, because my mental health matters more than me having the ability to have kids.
You know.
I am 20...
Should we go to the comment section? Let's see what the commenters have to say. She seems very annoying. Yes. The old white liberal woman. Yes. I could in 20 seconds. Imagine having to listen to this the rest of your life. No wonder her man is okay with her getting her tubes tied. Bro has plans and has no plans to stay with her. Probably. So, yep, that's probably exactly what will happen. Because most men do want kids, and most men are leaning more right nowadays than they ever have been. So. I didn't make it past the title. Nice. The doctor that did this had my tubes tied after my last pregnancy. I basically had to sign away my life consent verbally more times than I can count. Then I had to sign more forms. Yep. Yeah, that's true. The transgender thing, they're doing all kinds of things to young people that prevent them from having kids. Tables are being set up at University of North Florida to convert Americans to to Islam. Muslims have documentation to show Americans that Islam is not oppressive to women, among other things. They're converting Americans to Islam. What's this say? Islam literally means the submission to Allah by this authoritarian religion. Others are yet to be fought. Yeah, it's a submissive religion. That's why there are 4 girls there. A total 2. One man's worth of opinion in Islam. Actually, it's one woman is a half of a man's opinion or like observation. I don't know. I would like to see the actual video. Your video, hopefully. Paradise arrest of a violent criminal illegal alien who in August repeatedly stabbed her co-worker with scissors and then threw a trash can at her victim. Emergency medical personnel on the scene found no legitimate medical episode. ICE called 911 and the illegal alien refused any medical care. Alone, OJ Montoya, a criminal illegal alien from Ecuador, was released into the custody by the Biden administration into the country. In August 2025, local police arrested this criminal illegal alien for assault and battery with a dangerous weapon after she stabbed her coworker twice with a pair of scissors and threw a trash barrel at her. ISIS targeted vehicle stop of OJ Montoya. Her child and husband were in the car. The target threw the child into the arms of her husband. He purportedly to have a medical episode, though refused medical help and displayed absolutely no signs of medical concerns. Just moments later, agitators attempted to impede the arrest. Fitchburg police responded to the scene to help with the crowd. I think he's look.
I'm not touching the car. Leave me alone. Look what they're doing. Stop. Document. I got five. Back up. This is my wife. She's having a seizure. They're trying to rip the baby out of her hand. She's having a seizure. Back up.
He's having a seizure. Typical Karen.
Stop yelling at her. Stop yelling at her because you feel insecure. I'm not touching the car. Leave me.
Yep. Go figure. There wasn't. Police arrest of a violent illegal alien. Let's see. Is there any more video evidence? No, same video. Same post. Yeah. If he was really having a seizure, he shouldn't have been having the child in his arms in the first place. And this woman was pressing against him, forcing the child onto him. Like, come on. People. seizures are scary. My son has had a couple of them. My youngest son has had a few of them when he gets fever seizures, or has been. Warns that if the Supreme Court kills his tariffs, America will owe back trillions. We're taking in trillions. EU 950 billion, Japan 650 billion, South Korea 350 billion. Yeah, the tariff should stand. And I believe they rolled on his. Didn't they roll on his side for the tariffs? Let's see. Tariff ruling. Typing. 2Fs. 1R. Holds Trump's tariffs. Markets must adapt to a new reality. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled not to block Trump's global tariffs. Government officials, companies, and trading partners will have to live with it. Yep, good. During an oral argument on November 5th, 2025, in Learning Resources Inc. versus Trump, U.S. Supreme Court justices from across the ideological spectrum Trump's use of the 1977 International Emergency Economic Powers Act, tariffs on imports from over 100 countries. Challenges argue that tariffs functions as unconstitutional taxes that Congress alone can levy while the administration maintains they are necessary for national security and foreign policy. Economists estimate the tariffs have cost American consumers and businesses significantly, with 2025 elections projected $162 billion and a potential ruling against them could lead to refunds of up to $1 trillion for U.S. importers. Yeah, he's using the tariffs to chip away at it. Latest. U.S. stocks dropping as layoffs spike, traders holding their breath for the Supreme Court tariff ruling, which could change everything. The market's shaky, and the Fed is about to hit us with more updates. Stay alert. I thought they already ruled in his favor. Did they or did they not? Yeah, it's the shutdown that's causing the markets to go crazy, not the tariffs. This may come before the end of the year. I think that's right. Normal schedule, the court may not release its ruling until spring or even as late as June. Gold and Bitcoin going up. There be any brief tariffs already gone since compel the court to issue a ruling that is not retroactive. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I'm good with the tariffs. I think they need to be used for negotiating power. And that's what he's been doing. Shutdowns costing them votes. Yeah, it is. Americans facing rising costs are fed up with House Republicans who haven't shown up to work in almost 7 weeks, and a president who is too busy building his ballroom to notice. So half of this is true. The other half is Democrats aren't taking any responsibility for the shutdown whatsoever. We passed the ACA without a single Republican vote, then voted for the subsidies to expire in 2025 without a single Republican vote. But it's the Republicans' fault. Yep. But as you can see, this is all, media people or just regular Americans like myself. Not one elected official posts against these people. It goes and counters their points. GOP, listen to Trump and nuke the filibuster, or you'll be considered traitors to the America First agenda. Absolutely. Everybody is so tired of these spineless GOP. Right about their optics that they are handing Democrats PR wins. Look at Tuesday. Democrats have been running a serious campaign blaming Republicans. It worked. GOP is nowhere to be found on X. With their jellyfish ideologies. I guess I should say spineless. With their spineless actions. Oh. See, you have everybody up from Pete Hegseth to Trump making posts, but no other maybe it's because they're so stinking old that they don't post on X, but war vessel strikes on narco-terrorists will continue until their poisoning of the American people stops. Today, at the direction of President Trump, the Department of War carried out a lethal kinetic strike on a vessel operated by a designated terrorist organization. The vessel was trafficking narcotics in the Caribbean and was struck in international waters. No U.S. forces were harmed in this strike. The 3 male narco-terrorists who were aboard the vessel were killed. All narco-terrorists who threaten our homeland stay alive, stop trafficking drugs. If you keep trafficking deadly drugs, we will kill you. Yeah. Small black demon leaving blood and scratches. Weird. What's going on here? Maybe he's lying. Maybe they don't really attacked him. In which case, where's the demon now? Oh, maybe there was no demon and Tucker had a psychotic episode. Thoughts? Yeah. Could be. Has instructed all governors in the United States to switch to paper ballots, same day voting, voter ID, and proof of citizenship. Do I support this? Yes. Should be that way in the first place. The government programs are so inefficient that, unlike a commercial company, the feedback loop platform proven is broken because they have a state mandated monopoly and can't go out of business if customers are unhappy. How bad the service is at your DMV. Sorry to pick on DMVs. You still have to use your DMV because it's a monopoly. Yep. That woman that was arrested at the Chicago daycare was a legal immigrant. Again, legal. Was she? Yeah, exactly. That is laughable. As an undocumented immigrant from Colombia, she allegedly upon arrest had paid smugglers to bring her children into the U.S. under her legal status, despite social media assertion otherwise. Lying again. I think this one might be a bot though. MAGA are brainwashed by computer code. They're in an echo chamber and can't get out. They're using the exact same talking points that Republicans use about them, except for ours are truth and theirs are lies. We actually look into what they're talking about. Yeah, another idiot. Yeah, this guy's an absolute idiot. Yeah, this dude doesn't get a lot of traffic. The actual heck.
Philadelphia. Hey, y'all. Come look at this.
Y'all see, we about to open the hood free supermarket. Auntie started on her bomb-ass friends. We don't play about this community. Let's get into it.
That's Sadia Schuler. Her and her friends from Philadelphia, they done did a super wonderful thing. Since they know it's going to be hungry families, they're not going to be able to get their SNAP benefits. They all got together and got daggum did a free grocery store. You damn right they care about the community. Just look at that.
We got chicken wings, we got salmon, we have whiting, we got, what's this, swine? We even got ribs for y'all, okay? Stop playing with me.
That's right. Stop playing with her.
I mean, good for them. But if I go there, since I'm also on Snap, I'd probably get turned away. For one reason and one reason only. Oh, Hassan, what a waste of time. Alright, let's see if there's any YouTube news. Tired of X. X gets old after a while.
Is the Rubin Report. It is November 7th, 2025, Friday, November 7th, which means it's time for another Friday Roundtable Extravaganza. And joining me is the Willy Wonka of politics himself, also host of You're Welcome, Michael Malice, as well as noted vegetarian and host of Prime Time with Alex Stein. Alex, a vegetarian.
Dave.
Yes.
My show got canceled by the Blaze last week. I don't know. You didn't hear that? And Glenn Beck's leaving the network, and it's a big kerfuffle at the Blaze right now. You didn't know that? Keep this in the episode. Please keep this in the episode.
Well, I'm definitely keeping it in the episode.
Dancing on the grave of my show. But believe it or not, I have some other opportunities, so I'll be okay. But yes, my show just ended. We had our last episode last week.
Well, Malice, you still got a podcast, or is this whole thing going to derail right now?
Unfortunately, there's no way to find out.
You just broadcast in your room. The computer's not even connected to anything. Wait a minute. What did you just say about Glenn Beck, too?
Glenn said he's starting the torch. This is big news. I can't believe it's not a big deal. Glenn's starting a new thing. I mean, obviously he's still connected with the Blaze, but he's creating a whole new thing that's not connected with the Blaze. So.
Right, and I know he moved to Florida. There's a lot going on there. Well, listen, I know a little something about starting independent podcasts. If you need a little help, Stein, I have a whole team here. We'd be happy to help you.
Please, I do.
And again, normally I wouldn't work with a vegetarian, but in this case, I'm going to make it happen. Malice, do you want me to comment on any of your dietary habits or anything weird before we get going here?
I feel like it's LGBTQV.
I'll take it, guys. Listen, if you want to call me gay, you guys want to call me a soy boy, I don't care. I love these dang animals. And listen, honestly, I'm not going to yell at you guys for eating meat, but if you want my personal opinion, we do eat meat for every meal. You don't need to eat it for every meal. I think you need to eat meat once a day. It would help your digestion. But
I did not say gay. It was a homophobic slur that was implied. Please be accurate.
I thought the V was for vagina at first, but then I put it together. Okay, let's go, guys. We're going to recap some of the nonsense of the week, and it's really after a socialist, communist, Marxist, jihadist got elected in New York. It's a pleasure to be with the two of you on this Friday. So let's start. Everyone knows, obviously, at this point, we'll put the numbers up. They don't even matter at this point. But yes, Mamdani will be the mayor of New York City, and it got off to just a perfect start for a guy that says everything's going to be free. Within 24 hours of being elected, he immediately wanted your cash.
Yep.
There were a few months ago where I told supporters across the city to stop donating. And today I am asking them to start once again. And I am asking them to do so because of the fact that a transition that can meet the moment of preparing for January 1st is one that will require staff, it will require research, it will require infrastructure. And those are things that we will have to provide. And I'm excited for the fact that it will be funded by the very people who brought us to this point, the working people who have been left behind by the politics of the city.
Of course.
Malice, I want to try a Michael Malice stab at this thing. First off, it says a new era beneath him. It should say a new error. That's fairly obvious. But it seems to me that perhaps within 24 hours of a guy saying everything's going to be free, begging for money, that's actually baked into exactly what he's doing. The insult around it and the obvious hypocrisy is precisely the point of the entire thing. What do you
He's
think?
trying to
I don't know
hire
if
somebody to do the
precisely
job
point.
for him, so he
I'm
doesn't have
looking
to look
forward
at
to
who to
seeing what
hire.
this mayoralty will look like. I would want to point out, I don't think Mamdani is going to be particularly worse than de Blasio. De Blasio was a commie. One of my favorite moments of de Blasio's mayorship was there's something called Billionaire Row, which is
East
Central
Coast,
Park
West
South.
Coast,
I think it's the
going
most
down the
expensive
line.
street on the earth or close to it. And in perfect lefty logic, de Blasio's like, we're going to put a homeless shelter there. Because if we're going to have equality, why should the billionaires be able to escape from homeless people everywhere? Now, if you had real logic, it would be like, put real estate there, put property taxes, and use that to home people. But no, that's not how they think. So I think New York has had 8 years of this, some similar stuff in the past. I also want to caution people. I think the more Mamdani mayor term is going to be a lot like Trump's first term. Because when Trump came in, the administration ran the table on him. If any of us became mayor of New York right now, I wouldn't want to go against the city council, the real estate people, the police unions. These people know how the game works. They've been at it for a very long time. He's 34. He's going to staff it either with green people, meaning fresh to the scene, or party hacks. And I want everyone.
Green. By green, you don't mean Hamas and Hezbollah supporters because they like that flag.
I also want
to.
I'm just to say one more thing. Everyone watching this, look up on Wikipedia the 1977 Dennis Kucinich mayorship of Cleveland, because he was 31. He was this hardcore leftist anti-war candidate, and it was such a joke that Parks and Rec made a character based on it years later. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The one thing I'm concerned about is that there's going to be a lot more violence in the streets. That's my biggest concern.
Yeah.
Well, you were going real white pill there and ended it then with the violence. I'm completely with you on the violence part. I'm not sure I'm with you on the front end of that thing. Stein, where do you fall on this utter debacle?
Well, Dave, listen, this is what I want to do. I actually want to call out, our own party a little bit. We're acting like this is the end of the world. And when in reality, let's look at Mamdani. He's 34 years old. He's smoking weed. You saw him on the debate stage. He says, I go to the pot shop all the time. So first of all, he's high. His mom's a filmmaker, right? So he's not a real Arab. I mean, and you saw bin Laden's movies in those caves. What they call filmmaking is garbage. I mean, their number one leader, the movies that bin Laden made was garbage. So imagine she's probably not making as good of movies as that. So he's not going to be able to do jack squat. He's going to get in there. He's not, like Malice said, he's not going to be able to do anything. Yes, he is going to cause a bunch of drama, but I'm telling you, this might be a good thing, kind of like how the Biden presidency was a good thing because it kind of woke and radicalized people to actually start fighting back. So, maybe this will be a good thing in the long run. It feels like a bad thing, but, sometimes you get some perspective and your whole opinion changes.
Right. I mean, everyone's sort of saying, the silver lining is, okay, it goes to hell in a handbasket, but maybe that's exactly what finally has to happen. But I want to throw this clip to you guys from Scott Jennings over at CNN, because he just made the point that you made, Alex, about Mamdani being an actor.
Compliment your guy. He's the greatest actor you have. He turned himself into a hood ornament for the poor and the downtrodden. He's a rich kid who is a great actor. He play acts.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I can understand why. I can understand why you'd be leery of an actor in politics.
I'm just saying, there's no other obvious Democrat. He has all the energy behind him. You talk about slicing and dicing the electorate. He's going to slice it and dice it in one way: oppressors and oppressed.
No.
And I want to find out if he has it in him to give it up. I don't think he does, because that's the energy in the Democratic Party. It's oppressors and oppressed. No. That's why the Jews in this city feel scared, because they know he has labeled them as the oppressors. That's why people who create jobs in New York City are leery, because he labels them the oppressors.
Malice, tell me a little bit more about why you predict violence
very,
and
very
how
true.
bad do you think it's going to get, to the backdrop of what I assume we all agree that he just is kind of faking all of this, as Jennings said.
Did you catch that stupid Reagan joke that they tried to throw out there? Oh, yeah, I can see why you wouldn't want an actor in politics. It's just physically painful. I'm not. The violence,
I actually thought it was a reality TV show joke about Trump. Like,
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, but he's not an actor.
But either way.
Okay.
No, I know. But like in his head, like, oh, you don't want an actor, you have a reality TV host.
Sure, sure. I think people like Mamdani and the Democratic Socialist part of the Democratic Party comes from. You saw it in San Francisco with Chesa Boudin when he was DA. You see in some of these cities, they genuinely believe that criminals are victims.
Is an actual commie.
I was raised poor. I didn't have a good upbringing. Didn't have a dad. What choice did I have? And, these are crimes of poverty, not crimes of evil or property. So you should really have sympathy for them. This is why they're talking about defunding the police and replacing them with things like, I don't even know, like shrinks.
Social workers.
Social workers, thank you.
Yep.
So there's
Yeah.
going to be a lot, and he's going to disproportionately affects minorities, which obviously therefore means it's wrong. So you're going to see, if he has his way, pulling back of the cops on crime, especially violent crime, and
Which I
pointing the
don't
finger
know
at
that
white
he'll-
supremacists.
He'll have a hard
'cause
time
that's
pulling
what
the
makes
cops
people
back.
rapists.
How
So
strong
that's what I'm
the union is
concerned
in New
about. We
York.
saw this a little bit with Dinkins when he was mayor in 1989 through 93. There were kind of pogroms in Crown Heights. And when that was happening, I remember Dinkins decided to crack down on jaywalking. So that, kind of Seattle, Portland, San Francisco mindset, we've seen it play out. And we know what that looks like. And it's the people who are hurt the most are poor people, especially poor women. And that is who I'm concerned about.
But so to that point, Alex, it seems to me the reason this is going to be much worse than Dinkins, late 80s, early 90s, is because the culture is actually much worse right now. We're tolerant of much more mayhem on the streets, and that you're allowed to, close streets and chant and march and blah, blah, all the stuff that has been going on. It seems significantly worse and has been for years than it was back then. And and he's more outwardly, like, I think he's pro-jihad. I just do. So to me, this is just an unbelievably toxic mess.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree that it's toxic. And then you kind of look at, like, ever since Charlie's death, I feel like the protests have ramped up, and I've been to these No King protests. And trust me, like, now political violence is more acceptable because they've seen Luigi Mangione. Like, you've seen this thing where it's almost kind of, they like it, I mean, Luigi Mangione, I can't even say his name, is a hero now. So I would actually I would not be surprised, excuse me, if there is some more political violence in New York City, because these people realize they could be a hero if they go and hurt somebody in a public way. So I would be scared if I was in New York City.
Is that the point? I mean, the guy literally wouldn't condemn, globalize the Intifada, so why wouldn't it just burst forth on the streets?
Well, I don't think it's going to be localized to anti-Jewish violence in New York City. I think he's very skeptical of police as an answer to crime in general. And I think, he was a defund the police guy. And it was really kind of funny. I remember
He was a big
Cuomo-type
defund the police guy.
Democrats were like,
He actually went
when
back
they
on
say
that, though.
defund the police, what they really mean is more money for college. And there was an op-ed in the New York Times said, when we say defund the police, we mean defund the police. Like, they generally they believe that the police are a mechanism for the property class to protect themselves against the poor. So but at the same time, I don't know, and I don't know if you guys do, how much power the mayor has in terms of the police being pulled back. And I don't think the police in New York are doing that great of a job right now at all.
People are saying
but
they
again,
are.
that's why I think that everything has been so degraded that, yes, they're not doing a great job. Their qualifications have gone down. People accept a lot more mayhem.
Right.
And in a weird way, I don't even think it matters how much power he has, because I think it just they've now just created the conditions for chaos. But let's leave that there. I would say to New York, good luck with all of that. We'll talk about Juvent for a minute. And then Nancy Pelosi is retiring, but she's not giving up any of the money. Guys, if you're dealing with joint pain, stiffness, or just not bouncing back like you used to, like those jarring high-impact machines, the Juvent uses gentle, natural vibrations to activate your body's healing response. 20 minutes made right here in inner fatigue /root money back. Watch what I do here. For the children and the children, here's the retirement video.
I speak for the people of San Francisco. I have truly loved serving as your voice in Congress, and I've always honored the song of St. Francis. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace, the anthem of our city. That is why I want you, my fellow San Franciscans, to be the first to know. I will not be seeking re-election to Congress. With a grateful heart, I look forward to my final year of service as your proud representative. As we go forward, my message to the city I love is this: San Francisco, know your power.
Stein, was that the weirdest intro to Tales from the Crypt that you've ever seen?
I mean, I didn't see enough pride flags. I don't think she represented the gay community well enough. I think she should be canceled for that garbage. But I mean, seriously, Good for her. She's been there forever. Now Dan Crenshaw gets to be the league leader in stock trading. So I'm sure Dan's happy about that. He gets to be number one. So I'm sad for her.
Malice, we're going to miss her. We're going to miss her. I mean, she's done so many good things, hasn't she? I'm sure I have them written here somewhere if I can just...
She has been the most effective leader the Democrats have had in decades. The fact that she had all those Democrats walk the plank and lose their seats to put forward Obamacare in 2008 and 9 is no joke. And I think you guys are laughing now, but you're not going to be laughing in a year, because I don't think it's a coincidence that she's invoking St. Francis of Assisi. If Democrats start talking about their faith and putting their religion first and foremost and discarding this woke stuff, like Alex pointed out, there's no pride flags. When those midterms come in, all those swing voters are going to vote for them and against the Republican Party and Trump. So people who thought I was on Gutfeld a few months ago and they're like, the Democrats are never going to win again. And I said, you guys are crazy. This isn't the end of the first quarter and you're having your victory laps. These people are playing the long game. And we saw it on Tuesday and you're going to see it next year.
Wait, go with that a little bit more. So you think there's a calculated move that they will shift from woke a little bit, even though...
Give me a second. I gotta go let her in. Open the window for the doggy so she could look out, lay on the couch. Why she was wanting to go outside so much. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. All over that. All right. Definitely agree that Democrats are going to be playing on their religion a little bit more. This coming election cycle. Just because they saw it kind of work with the Charlie Kirk thing. Not work, but how many people actually have some type of faith anyway. So they're definitely going to play it more this coming election. And, you know, it'll be a good thing if they back away from some of the stuff they're leaning into, like the trans and the LGBT every day, all day thing. And
New York is now,
but they're still going to have a
culmination of woke in a certain sense. But how does the religion part fit with this?
Because what the whole idea of woke is this kind of very secular, LGBT, internationalist, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You didn't see that in Virginia. You didn't see that in New Jersey. They're talking like 90s Democrats about your economy, paying the mortgage. I go to church, all this, I form a military, all this other good stuff. So that's the kind of thing that alienated a lot of moderates and Republicans in years past, and they learned their lesson from 2024. How many times in the past have you seen Nancy Pelosi talking about St. Francis of Assisi? You think this calculating woman who's bringing it up in her video and not, as Alex said, mentioning, you know, the work we've done for gay people over the last decades or minorities, she didn't bring up any of that. So that she's very, very crafty. She knows where the future of politics is going, and people should read those tea leaves.
Interestingly, she also didn't bring up any of this.
This week, we saw cold, hard evidence of the Trump campaign, indeed the Trump family.
Yeah, she didn't talk about Trump at all.
Intending to collude possibly with Russia. He's even predicting a bloodbath.
Russia.
Wait.
And Pence, just standing there acting like nothing's happening.
The United States, a Mount Rushmore kind of president of the United States. I want to know what comes next.
That he belongs up there on Mount Rushmore. Lincoln and Joe Biden.
But
no.
you got Teddy Roosevelt up there, and he's wonderful. I don't say take him down, but you can add Biden.
Now, Stein, I know when they were in the traditional African garb kneeling at the Capitol, you were right out of frame doing the same thing. So can you comment on some of that?
Well, I mean, I love it. I mean, Nancy Pelosi, just, you know, she's a proud Black woman. I mean, what can I say? And she always has been, and she really represents her community very well. But I think Michael had a really good point. I actually want to piggyback something he said. If you see what Gavin Newsom is doing, he's just trying to copy Donald Trump's playbook. So I would not be surprised if they don't try to become a little more spiritual. Because, you know, believe it or not, you know, people are, I don't think people are getting into organized religion as much, but I think people are becoming more spiritual, and people do believe in God. Even like these weird leftists, they might not believe in organized religion. So they're going to find ways to try to connect with that base. So I think it's not that they're getting creative, they're just kind of copying a winning formula. And to be honest, like what Malice said, after, I think JD Vance is a good candidate, but really it's not a guarantee that he's going to win. So, I mean, you know, it's anybody's game is what I'm trying to say.
No, I definitely agree with that. Also, it's just the way things change so fast now. There's simply no way to know. And by the way, I mean, we got to get through a midterms before it's up to JD. Do you think she will regret admitting that she had a soft coup on the president? Because look at this.
You know what?
Have you talked to him? Is my only question.
What I have to do.
Right.
He made the decision for the country. My concern was not about the president. It was about his campaign.
I mean, Malice, she basically admitted booting Biden, but whatever, it just does, none of it matters anymore, right?
But I mean, she did that and she saved how many House seats, right? All the polling was showing that he was going to lose like New Mexico, so on and so forth. This woman is now, I don't think Kamala could have won, but I do think Kamala did better than Biden would have done, especially at weeks of the Democrats attacking him. And if God help him, if there was another debate, he might have literally died on stage to the amusement of many. So this woman, I think how many speakers of the House have taken out a sitting president? I mean, this woman is very, very crafty and knows how politics works and talk about the long game. She's like, we got to get rid of Biden,
very evil
who's
woman.
been around since the 70s. She knifed him in the back to preserve the party's control of Congress. This is a cold-blooded gangster.
Yeah, don't hate the player, hate the game. Donald Trump seems to be at least somewhat happy that she's going to be leaving.
Chatted with President Trump about this breaking news that Nancy Pelosi will be leaving Washington. He tells me the following, and this is a quote. The retirement of Nancy Pelosi is a great thing for America. She was evil, corrupt, and only focused on bad things for our country. She was rapidly losing control of her party, and it was never coming back. I'm very honored. She impeached me twice and failed miserably twice. Nancy Pelosi is a highly overrated politician. And so that is the first word, but definitely not the last word from President Trump about this, because about 90 minutes from right now, we do expect to see him in the Oval Office. The two of them, of course, throughout his entire first term, had historic battles.
Stein, I kind of like when Trump just goes old school Trump and puts out statements like that at this point.
Well, and when you hear the statement back, it really makes you think, like, when Trump talks, he does not waste one word. I mean, he just starts off with "she was evil." I mean, he just, he hooks you right at the beginning. He's such a good orator, very, and I guess I would not say underrated, because everybody knows he's one of the funniest guys in the world. But I'm just saying, we don't appreciate how well he is at just, cutting someone down. That was epic. But in reality, she did do those things. She failed twice. And there's bad blood there, so I love it. I think we actually need a little more sensationalizing and sensationalism going on in politics. I love it.
Well, from a rich, elderly white woman, we're going to shift to younger white women in just a second.
Can I say one thing to this
point? Malice.
Before we go on? I would like to remind you guys of a tweet Trump made in 2018 after the midterms, and he said, quote, "In all fairness, Nancy Pelosi deserves to be chosen Speaker of the House by Democrats. If they give her a hard time, perhaps we will add some Republican votes. She has earned this great honor." So Trump has been on both sides of the fence on this issue.
Yeah. Look, I mean, Trump used to love Hillary. Hillary used to love Trump. There's always, as they say, there's always a tweet for it, right? Let's do Venice AI, and then we will talk about woke white women. Sam Altman just announced that ChatGPT can now reference all your past conversations, every thought, question, idea you've ever shared. And with a former NSA director now on their board, Edward Snowden called it a willful, calculated betrayal of the rights of every person on Earth. We've seen this before. Alexa listens. Meta tracks everything you do. Why assume AI will be any different? And now OpenAI might even start asking for government IDs to use ChatGPT. That's where Venice.ai comes in. It gives you the power of AI without giving up your privacy. It's open source, private, and runs right in your browser. No spying, no censorship, no data collection. Your chats stay encrypted and stored only on your device. Go to venice.ai/Dave and use code Dave for 20% off a pro plan. That's venice.ai/Dave, code Dave. Real AI, real privacy. So guys, I'm always trying to find the equivalent of us on the left. You know, the whole online ecosystem, everyone's sort of on the right because we were all counterculture to the nonsense of CNN and mainstream media. So we sort of have this robust thing, you know, again, on the broad right, whatever the hell you want to call it. But I'm always trying to find lefty podcasters that are worth talking to or something, and it's very, very thin. This woman, Jennifer Welch, keeps popping up now. She seems, and she seems to be, I guess she was a reality star or something. I'm not even sure, but she's just sort of representative of the hysterical, I would say, kind of self-hating, middle-aged white woman who just wants to bow at the altar of diversity and all of this nonsense, never giving up her whiteness, of course. Here she is on Trump voters.
I've had it with white people that triple Trumped, that have the nerve and the audacity to walk into a Mexican restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, an Indian restaurant, go to perhaps their gay hairdresser. I don't think you should be able to enjoy anything but Cracker Barrel.
Female
Alice, you are a expert in trolling. Is that just trolling? Does she believe anything she's possibly saying?
Dave, as a gay man that you are, I'm going to explain something to you. Women engage in something called attention-seeking behavior, and they do it constantly, and they do it incessantly. And women like her would used to get it for their looks, and when those looks start to fade and your face becomes pulled like silly putty so you look like a foot, you have to get your attention in other ways. Yep. So this is just the kind of things that they sit around in the hair salon, talking about themselves and fluffing each other up.
Getting all the views you can.
It's complete nonsense. And the term I popularized for these people is awfuls, affluent white female liberals. And once you realize this is just the Xanax and the boxed wine talking, you don't need to waste your time giving it any more oxygen.
Do you guys know if she has kids by any chance? Because there's also that component of it, like the middle age. This is what people say about Chelsea Handler and Sarah Silverman. Apparently she has 2 kids. They're telling me right now.
If she has kids, I assure you they're trans. Not
Well, I don't know. I don't know because Michael, I think you're kind of contradicting yourself, and I'm not trying to call you out because I do think that she is LARPing. So if she's LARPing, she wouldn't let her kids be trans, right? And this is why I think she's fake, because there is a video of her talking about, I'm guessing she lives in an affluent area in, I think, California, but how some black people moved into their neighborhood and they were so excited that there was black people in their neighborhood. But in reality, what she was really like locking her door when she drives outside her house. And she's, in reality, she's
real. Excited with fear.
Oh, you know what I mean? She feels some sort of way about it. So she's fake. She's not really, she doesn't want her kids to be trans. And she's saying this stuff because just like we like it when Donald Trump says wild stuff, she's just trying to push people's buttons. So I mean, she's a phony. I don't think she's really as a leftist as she's trying to pretend to be on her podcast.
Yeah, we also played a clip from her the night of the Mamdani win where she was basically, white people have no culture, as she's standing there with Mehdi Hassan and a couple other Hamas guys. And it's like, come on, lady, stop. They're going to put you in a beekeeper costume. Listen to this from Jay Manarino on X. I thought this was interesting just relative to the numbers and the sex and or gender and or genital breakdown of who voted. 81% of young women voted for Mamdani in New York City. 80% of young women voted for Sherelle in New Jersey. 78% of young women voted for Spangberger in Virginia. And then he editorialized a little bit. But the numbers there, I mean, that's pretty freaking significant, Malice, like in terms of that the sexes seem to be going in different ways when it comes to voting habits.
Sure, but I also don't think they're voting consciously. I think it's more like if I'm a fat chick in high school, I'm going to listen to the Smiths and go to Hot Topic, right? So for these, especially highly educated, not particularly intelligent young women, being a Democrat and having these kind of radical leftist chic views are the same thing as speaking in Upspeak or having vocal fry. It's indicators of status and it's indicators of where you are. These are not deep thinkers by any measure. No. So it's just entirely become this status thing.
A lot of the left isn't critical thinking on any level
throughout the nation. And you saw with the Pussy Hat March. I mean, it was just ridiculous. They've been at this for 10 years now. They don't hate Trump. They hate Dad.
Yeah. Stein, what music and what store at the mall were you listening to in high school?
Oh, I mean, I was big into Blink 182. I loved Blink 182. All the small things. That was such a good album.
And what store were you going to in the mall?
Yeah, obviously.
Oh, and I used to hang out at the mall. I used to always go to the smoothie place at the mall. I remember I used to love going to like the $7 smoothie. I don't know why I remember that place, but yeah, we'd go to Sam Goody a lot. But the smoothie, I can't think of the dang smoothie place. It closed a few years ago, but I remember always wanting to get that $7 smoothie, and as a kid, that was a lot of money back then. But yeah,
that's why he's so smooth now.
I was at the mall the other day, and do you guys know that Spencer's Gifts still exists?
No.
Oh yeah, I shopped there. Are you kidding? That's where I got this jacket today. What are you talking about? It's a great place.
That's where I got this inflatable couch. Wow. All right, let me show you this. This is just another one of these. Like, what are these people thinking? Are they thinking anything? Vocal fry and everything else notwithstanding. A guy on the street started talking to random Mamdani voters, and I think this gets to the logic of the whole thing.
Well, how are we going to pay for it?
How are we going to pay for with tax money, with tax dollars?
Okay, where the tax dollars come from?
Tax dollars are coming from all of the billionaires and wealthy people. That
Well, they already pay, the top 1% already pays 50% of all taxes. Yeah.
Can you
IRS data reflects that the top 1% already pays 50% of all taxes. But I ask you, so if you tax the rich to oblivion,
Yes.
what happens when the rich leave the city? Who's to tax then?
They won't leave the city.
Why not? They've already done it in California.
Because in New York State, we have Wall Street. They're not leaving. And so what
You
if
think they can't leave? Then who are you going to tax when they leave?
We're just going to continue taxing people. But your
Oh,
argument.
the middle class, right?
Yes, actually, the middle class.
Oh, okay, so you explained it. So we're going to tax the out of the middle class when the rich people leave after you tax the out of them.
I think we should tax the out of everybody. Yes.
Malice, I get to see you guys while those videos are playing, and I think you nodded along with her a few times.
Yeah, I agree. They're not leaving. Wall Street's not leaving. I don't think it's anywhere close to the point where you're going to have this wealthy exodus from New York, because New York still has the status. I left, but there was lots of other things I didn't like about New York. But she's not wrong that Mamdani's going to be in position to drive all the wealth and business out of New York in 4 years. It's not going to happen. And one more point: my friend thinks, with a tinfoil hat, thinks this is a conspiracy by the real estate people to have a real estate collapse, because the Empire State Building is going to be there in 4 years or 8 years. You buy it all up and then just wait for the real estate to explode again. So that might even happen too.
Right. You find a dual agent who's selling houses in in Miami right now and who's buying them over there. You might be onto something. Stein, the general thought process: okay, we'll tax the high hell out of these people. And then the next statement out of her mouth is, okay, well, basically once they leave, we'll tax the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. It's kind of socialism 101.
Well, I mean, it is socialism, but for her and Michael, I think you're right, because she had that one good point. Wall Street is there, so that's going to keep some of these financial institutions in New York because they can't really leave it. But at the end of the day, if you're getting taxed 52 to 50% of what you make,
you have all these homegrown, do it in their garage, stockbroker guys that buy and sell stock all day, at home. You don't need to be physically in New York anymore to exchange stocks. I mean, I guess I understand that Wall Street is there, will be there, so maybe some of the percentile stay, but the majority don't need to. They can do it from their house in Florida on the beach.
do think some of these big people, like you see the Howard Sterns or, all these other people, they are going to go and they're going to say that I live in Florida. So that will have an effect on the city. But
oh, God, is Howard Stern going to move down here? No.
He's already there. He's already there. Howard's been there. He lives next door to you, and he's got one of the biggest. I think he, at the time when it was built, it was the biggest personal home in Florida. I know that. Remember that documentary, The Versailles House or whatever, and that I don't think that counts because it wasn't.
Oh,
finished,
that sounds like
if you
Palm
look
Beach.
carefully, you could see him in the backyard when his wig is off and have the sun reflect.
That's definitely a wig. I'm a Howard. Howard Stern was my favorite. He's the only guy.
I used to love him.
70 years old, not one gray hair. I have gray hair. I mean, we all have gray hair.
He has gray hair.
In my 30s, you get gray hair.
Not on the wig.
Not on the wig.
I mean, well, wigs don't change color. Right. I mean, this isn't rocket science, guys. I'm being told we're getting numbers on the fly. He's in Palm Beach, $65 million for the home.
I mean, a weird thing? Dave, this is the weirdest thing. This is like the final straw, because I wouldn't listen to Howard, but he had Ed Sheeran on, and Ed Sheeran came on. This was like a classic clip, but you had to be kind of a Stern fan. Ed, this was like last year, 2 years ago. And Ed said, Howard, I had such a great time at your house, you and Beth, and I've really enjoyed the bowling alley. And Howard cuts him off, goes, don't, what? Bowling alley? And Ed Sheeran is like, gives this weird, it was this very awkward moment. And then Howard Stern lied that he had a bowling alley, and then somebody went on Zillow or whatever and looked up the pictures of his bowling alley and posted it. So like, Howard Stern's such a fraud. I was so mad. Not that I still respect him because this is after Hillary, but I'm like, why are you lying about your bowling alley? Like, you're not related.
Who would begrudge him having a bowling alley?
Right.
Like,
exactly.
Who cares?
But you know what? Everyone does this. You saw a couple of weeks ago at that Turning Point thing when that kid was like, Tucker, you're worth $50 million. And he's like, no, I'm not. And then he threatened to punch somebody a minute later. It's like,
Tucker is worth probably a lot.
You made $25 million a year at Fox. If you're not worth 50, then you don't know what you're doing.
Tucker is mad because he didn't say he's worth enough. He didn't say 100.
No, hold on. The best moment of this was when Rosie O'Donnell was on The View, and she goes, Barbara Walters, when I went to your house, I've never been around such rarefied airs. You have Picassos. You have the Ambassador UN. Barbara's like, no, what are you talking talking about? I'm an person. She's like, you're rich. You earned it. I'm rich. I don't care. I'm not saying, oh, I'm regular. I'm regular. It's like, with your Picassos.
Yeah.
Yes, with that accent, Barbara Walters. You're like, she sounded rich. She was just from whatever. All right, let's show a video of somebody sane actually making some sense. I like this guy a lot. This is Palantir CEO Alex Karp.
And I think the average, Ivy League grad voting for this mayor is highly annoyed that their education is not that valuable. And the person down the street who knows how to drill for oil and gas, who's moved to Texas, has a more valuable profession. And I think that annoys the out of these people.
Yeah, Malice, I saw you nodding again, and that basically illustrates the point that you were making earlier.
They've been told for over 8 years that everyone voting for Trump is inbred in the trailer park, and these people are beneath you. And how dare they take the White House with this billionaire Hicks? I don't know how that's possible. Somehow he's both. And 2020 came, and we returned rightfully to our place in the elite and running this country because they thought Trump was over. We beat him. The head vampire's gone. And then when he came back, it's like they don't know what to do. Everyone watching this understands. When I went to college, I got a business major, not because I wanted, because I knew I'm there to get a credential. That's the only thing you go to college to get. Having that Yale diploma will always open doors for you, will always be a measure of status and success. And the more that's taken away from these people, they can't compete on the other metric. These are not impressive personalities. They're only impressive on paper. And when that paper gets devalued, like inflation, it makes them freak out.
Stein, according to my records here, your college major was underwater lesbian basket weaving. Is that correct?
Well, technically, kind of, because I graduated from LSU, so it was really vodka, but and how to fix a hangover. I mean, when I look at this situation. Now I'm all a loss. What are we even talking about? Because now I kind of lost the train of thought.
Well, Alex Karp.
Alex Karp. Yeah, but this is one thing I want to disagree with Alex on. He said these people that graduate from Yale, they look at a person that's in the oil and gas business. Alex Karp is a very smart guy, but people that actually make money in the oil and gas business, the Roughnecks do okay, but they're petroleum engineers. And I knew a lot of petroleum engineers at LSU, believe it or not. They were pretty smart. It was hard. Everybody wants to be a petroleum engineer. So it's like, I don't know if that's really a great comparison because I know they're not Yale graduates, but if you graduated from the petroleum engineering degree from LSU, you could get a job with Exxon and literally out of college make like $500,000. So
but
they're not dummies.
Ask that Yale person what they think of that Yale petroleum engineer, and they're not our kind of people. It's like
they're not on the same level.
That's all I'm saying.
No.
Malice, wasn't P. Diddy a petroleum engineer?
Technically.
God, really,
like
Ruben?
the baby oil.
Seriously? Jesus.
It's Friday. It's been a very trying week.
It is
all right,
Friday.
let's talk about purified water
Happy
for a
Friday,
second,
everyone.
And we'll finish up with one of the best segments we've ever done. You might not realize it, but over 70% of the U.S. population has fluoride added to their water supply, and many people are starting to think more carefully about what's in the water they drink every day. If you want more purifier that decides 89% cold or warm, because your VE, to get to the boobs part of this, actress Jennifer Lawrence, people know I don't like talking about actors on this show because they're always bloviating about everything, but here she is actually saying that actors are bloviating about everything, and she ain't going to bloviate anymore.
You have been politically outspoken in the past. In the first Trump administration, you had a lot to say. I'm curious how you feel about talking out now.
I don't really know if I should. I think like the first Trump administration was so wild, and just how can we let this stand? Like I felt like I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off. But as we've learned, election after election, celebrities do not make a difference whatsoever on who people vote for. And so then what am I doing? I'm just sharing my opinion on something that's going to just add fuel to a fire that's ripping the country apart.
Xanax. That's what it should. That's what it should have said right there. Stein, it is nice to hear a celebrity admit that they are just babbling about nonsense.
I've always liked her,
largely alienating their audiences. And the amount of times that I open up Netflix or Hulu or whatever, and I'm like, oh, that person called me a racist. That one called me Nazi. But I'm like, I can't watch anything anymore.
No,
Bette Midler called me a racist.
Is she really?
Yeah, I
No.
can't watch that episode of Seinfeld anymore.
Is that true? Bette Midler really did call you a racist? Oh, wow,
Yeah.
that's a big one.
Martina Navratilova, I think, called me a Nazi. Now I can't watch old tennis matches. It's horrible.
You don't like women's tennis. Who are you fooling?
That's true. That's true. That one was a favor.
I mean, it's absolutely ludicrous, Dave. I honestly forgot about this question too. What are we even talking about again? What are we on?
Dude, you can get one during a show. You can't get two.
What
All
was
right,
this
Malice.
question? What
Malice, celebrities.
Oh yeah, I'm happy that she admits that we don't care about celebrities' opinions. That's the only thing she said. That's the one humble thing Jennifer Lawrence ever said. We get on these side quests during these interviews. 1 second, you're talking about Bette Midler. I forget that we're even talking about Jennifer Lawrence, J-Law. So I mean, this is a wild show, but it's always.
I think Alex is doing a great Biden impression. This must be.
Boy, Alex, you go 1 week without having a podcast, and you just have
I
completely.
can't. I'm not even paying attention. I'm losing the question, and then I'm looking at Michael the whole time, and then already I felt roasted. You're like, "What primetime with Alex Stein?" Already got me emotional. So, Dave, I'm having a hard time. I lost my job. Please, out there, donate. I need a PayPal. I need money.
Listen, the last clip I'm going to show you, I got one more, and then I'm going to show you a clip of Sydney Sweeney.
Am I
so
going to
that's
talk
a nice
on this
way.
one?
Yeah, no, you can go ahead, Malice.
So,
I'm just trying to. I'm trying to calm him down.
He's about to be unemployed, or he's unemployed. Look at some stuff.
I am.
Yeah.
The thing that she said that most caught my attention, it was when she said she was running around like a chicken with her head cut off because she had no brain. And I love it when she was, you had outspoken opinions. No, you didn't. You had the exact same opinions of your entire peer group. You had no negative consequences, all positive consequences. But like I was saying earlier in the Nancy Pelosi clip we had, they got the memo. Go home and shut up, because all you're doing is getting the Trump people to the polls. You're not getting our people to the polls. It's counterproductive. Someone got on the phone with this broad, and she got the memo. And she's not the only one.
Someone did not get on the phone with this broad.
Oh, boy.
So I wanted to take
Michelle
advantage of the
Obama.
fact that as the first lady, yes, you can be smart and educated and beautiful and sexy and interesting and all those things.
But you're
And yes,
not.
You can be a black woman, a tall 5'11"
You're
black
a black woman, but you're not sexy.
Can we put up her?
You
Stein,
were
I'm not
pretty
even going
back
to ask you
then.
a question. I want to throw you off.
Because
Just speak. Just speak.
I don't. Michelle Obama, 5'11". I mean, come on. I mean, you know what I mean. Come on, give me a break. I don't want to say Michael. I'm not going to say that. That's but come on. I mean, she's just.
He's so defeated. He can't even handle a big.
I can't even speak. I'm going to just let you guys make your own assumptions when you see that, because there's nothing that I can tell you to change your mind or convince you one way.
Can we put up her picture really quick from that interview?
We
Just
can.
like a picture.
Yeah, they're gonna put the picture up.
Michelle, the fact that Michelle looks like a linebacker for the Chicago Bears. Is that why
Doesn't she
you
look like a drag queen version of Easter Island? Like in that outfit? She looks like someone took one of those big head statues with that forehead and just put drag makeup. Yeah, that's drag Easter Island. And you can see why Obama's dipping his ink in Jennifer Aniston instead of sheathing.
That's the rumor. That's the rumor.
Can you blame him?
Really, Jennifer Aniston?
She'd make a good beard.
She would make a good beard. All right, guys, one more. Stein, I really want you to knock this one out of the park, okay? Because you're out of work right now. I know there's a lot going on. You're a vegetarian. You know what? Let's PayPal him like $10.
Yeah, please.
Okay?
PayPal, Cash App, Venmo.
Yeah,
Dave,
I don't even think I'm on
Dave,
PayPal.
can you put up the receipt on the screen when you PayPal him $10?
Yeah.
I'm going to PayPal Stein 10. We'll put it in the comments.
Please don't
Sydney
W2
Sweeney.
me. Do not W2 me. Just please, I can't. I'm already behind.
I guess the Braves give send go to you, huh?
Yeah.
No,
well,
they
I'll
won't
send you a
even.
bottle of tequila. All right. So Sydney Sweeney, everyone knows she's got great genes. She's got big boobs. She went on this podcast, and I don't know who the host is, but she tries to guilt her about basically that whole marketing thing.
I saw this
The
on,
criticism of the content, which was basically that maybe specifically in this political climate, like
on Crowder.
white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority.
Sydney Sweeney just
Like,
makes
was
that
kind of
woman
like the
look like a
criticism,
troll.
broadly speaking. And
that's sitting next
since you
to
are
her
talking about this, I just wanted to
squarehead.
give you an opportunity to talk about that specifically.
What's his name? Made a joke.
that
She looked
when
like she was that woman belonged to Minecraft.
I have an issue that I want to speak about.
The guy
people here.
on.
I was going to start
on,
with Stein, but I'm
Crowder.
going to give him the last word because Malice, the way that Sydney Sweeney was given side eye to that girl as she was asking that guilt-ridden, woke, like that was B. Arthur, Rue McClanahan level side eye right there.
You know that broad had a mustache. I think it's kind of really gross that Sid Sweet, the idea, like we're told that Michelle Obama is beautiful, but like a pretty 9 white girl can't be beautiful? Like, what happened to everyone's beautiful?
She's gorgeous.
This ad wasn't Nazi in any way. It was just a regular person who's an actress who's in jeans. This is the norm. And Steve Saylor has his rule of journalism that every female journalist has the rule, come the revolution, that she will personally be found more attractive. So, of course, this, Midwest 5 wants Sid Sweeney to seek her approval. And I'm so glad we're at a point where Sweeney's like, I don't know
West
who you
Virginia,
are and I don't need
like
you.
2.
Stein, bring us home.
Well, I have to give it to this journalist because just the way that they would ask the questions to Sydney Sweeney, they're very leading, but it was just almost like, it was just a very weird, awkward dance in this interview.
The body motion, everything.
Just the slow, the pace, like everything was it was like she was trying to press her in the most gentle way possible. And I think Sydney Sweeney kind of felt that and gave her that, reciprocal kind of energy. But I do want to say this. She asked her another question about her fame. Has the fame changed her? Sydney said, no, not really. And I think that from the interview and how her approach, it seemed like Sydney Sweeney was being real. So if Sydney Sweeney is this humble and she's not afraid to be herself, it makes her a lot more likable than the Jennifer Lawrences and the people that are so scared to talk about it. So I'm so happy that she's having this success. And the fact that she'll show her boobs on Twitter, I mean, you can't beat that. So.
And speaking of likable, that's why I want all of you to donate to Alex Stein. He's struggling right now. I'm pretty sure that's a fake fire behind him.
It is fake.
He's on PayPal. He's on Venmo.
I'll send you guys a
He's just in a hotel room somewhere.
But I do want to say, luckily though, David, I am not totally destitute. Luckily, a Turning Point USA, they have been, I am a representative of their organization. So luckily, I'm okay. I'm okay. So don't feel. But I am struggling. I'm doing bad. So if you want to PayPal me, I need it too. But I do have.
No, Turning Point does have a pretty good craft service table. You're doing okay. Malice, bring us home for the weekend.
Everyone, politics is in real life. Go out, thrive, spend time with your family, make yourself a better person, and stop spending so much time on the internet and making yourself crazy.
Unless you're watching the Rubin Report.
Yes.
Goodbye.
You know exactly what you're doing, and you seem to be having a good time while you're doing it.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
We know exactly what we're doing. For my family, home. Man, who wants to kill conservatives? Time for an exorcism. What? Democrats elect man who wants to kill conservatives.
All right, number ones. We watched one. Might as well watch the other one. So not so long ago, I made a video response to this. What did Romans think about race and identity? And I have to say that there were a couple of things that I think I really didn't agree with. But in general, it was an overall okay video. I was actually expecting a lot worse. Why am I here covering it? Goodness gracious. Sorry, I meant this. The presentation was quite fair and is stuck to the sources. However, I do want to check this other one, were the ancient Greeks racists?
Ethnic and racial prejudice is a common occurrence in history, brought upon by power dynamics that emerge between different peoples. While not a natural human impulse, the development of ethnic and racial stereotypes often occurred due to political circumstances. Just like in
I don't know, man. I already disagree with that. So here is what I think. First and foremost, is it natural to be racist? And does it occur because of political power dynamics? Yes to the first, no to the second. So, is it natural to be racist? Yes. Now, given. It doesn't mean, natural doesn't mean good. And before anyone is like, oh, look what Metatron said. It's natural to devour another animal's children in the egg to clear the area. It's natural to attack another free-living entity in order to eat their flesh. Natural does not mean good. Natural just means that it occurs due to the way we are hardwired as species that live, coexist, and often compete for resources and the ability to reproduce on this planet. Now, first and foremost, to really unpack this statement, when we say racism, but we go back into ancient times, it's not going to be the same racism as today. It will have some areas of commonality, But today's racism is different in some aspects. In fact, when we go to prehistory, we should probably call it proto-racism if we really wanted to. The idea, I think, is not just a matter of power dynamics. You have a powerful group, the politically superior, and then there is a group, poor guys, they're being preyed upon. Yeah, of course that happens. But it's not the prerequisite for any form of racism, xenophobia, the birth of derogatory language, and that kind of stuff. It is an in-group versus out-group dynamic. So, particularly in prehistory or in times where surviving was very difficult, so you have your family extended to your tribe, and you know people in the tribe, you don't like all of them, but you know them, these are the people you hunt with, they're part of your family, and that's that. But then you see another tribe, and perhaps they look different, they dress different, maybe they have different phenotypic traits. All of these things, not just the skin, all of these characteristics clearly create a distinction between in-group and out-group. Now, does out-group mean foe or does it mean friend? You don't know. And sometimes I think it could be natural in this world to have an immediate reaction to, let's assume they are foes, but then if I'm wrong and they were friends, good, we're ally and all the rest that comes from that. I think the very basic beginning of what will eventually develop into actual racism may come from this, a simple in versus out group. It is, of course, something that we can use reason, logic to overcome, but it is a natural instinct. It's not always necessarily connected, as he seems to have stated here, to power political dynamics.
Our modern world, the ancient world, certainly had its own views on ethnicity and race, which were at times very familiar to us and at times completely alien to the modern eye.
Exactly.
In this series, we will discuss the conception of ethnicity and race in various ancient societies, such as Greece, Rome, and Egypt. We will do this by looking at art and texts from those societies and contextualizing historical events from their respective eras. In this first video, we will transport you to the ancient polis of Hellas and explore perceptions of race, identity, ethnicity, and racism in the world of ancient Greece. This video is sponsored by our YouTube members.
So I'm afraid that even though he's usually pretty good at checking the sources, considering the premise was faulty at first, I'm afraid that that's going to taint the rest of the data analysis here.
For help. The ancient world did not have racism as we perceive it today, as modern racism is built upon the advent of capitalism and European colonialism, and finding excuses to justify its brutality.
Okay, the other video was fine. This video is not, I'm afraid to say. So, is modern racism based on the backs of capitalism and colonialism? No. It is expressed by these. I mean, capitalism is an economic system anyways. I'm not sure why you're connecting it to racism. You'll have to explain this once. So how is that racist? I don't get it. But when it comes to colonialism, of course, but if it was only connected to colonialism, so in order to be racist, it needs to be tied to colonialism, then what that would mean is that anyone who is not a colonial power, meaning a European colonial power, even though they may completely hate another race or another ethnicity, well, technically not racism because they're not colonialists. That's stupid. So no, these two premises, once again, the premise is incorrect.
However, ancient Greece did have societal prejudices, and there is some debate amongst scholars as to whether this part of Greek thought constituted racism, defined as prejudice based on biological racial features, or ethnic prejudice, defined as prejudice based on cultural traits.
Right.
Some modern scholars believe that ancient Greek prejudices against the various peoples of the ancient Near East were non-hereditary, based not on race but on language and culture. Moreover, these modern scholars assert that racism as we know it today has its origins in the African slave trade of the Europe.
Okay, so these modern scholars are absolute clowns, and it's a shame, kings and generals. I honestly thought you were better than this. It's a shame that you're listening to their propaganda. Nonsense. Racism is a lot more ancient than African slave trade. In fact, if anything, It was Africans that were enslaving other Africans even before the European man came into the picture. Of course, you could give me a comeback and say, well, but it's not racism because it's Africa, it's black versus black. No, because Africa has the highest amount of diversity in phenotypic traits within the entirety of the planet. So if anything, you cannot just point at two people from Africa, they are black, and then say, well, they are the same. They're not the same. So absolutely, they can be racist between themselves as well. Asians can be racist towards white people. Black people can be racist towards white people. Anyone can be racist towards anyone. There was absolutely racism before. You see, that's what they do. They twist the meaning of words. They twist the meaning of words. They say, no, it's not racist if it's not systemic. And they say it's not racist if it's not connected to colonialism. It's not racist. It is racist if it's derogatory and if there is strong prejudice based on ethnicity. And what he said earlier on, that's, I mean, it's true. Some professors say it. That's why they are clowns. When he said earlier on that it was non-hereditary. Oh, yeah? Oh my gosh, it was non-hereditary. So it's they just didn't like that person, but other people from the same, it absolutely was. Absolutely was. They are just making shit up. And what about the guy who described the Ethiopian soldier, and because he was black, he was a bad omen? Would you be okay saying that today? No, you'd be called a racist. So why are you not calling that person who said it a racist? There are plenty of situations like this in the ancient period. Plenty.
European colonial era, millennia later. When trying to understand the concept of identity in antiquity, it should be noted that our window into the ancient world's attitude towards race and ethnicity survives to us through written records and artwork that only the elite would have been able to afford, and therefore reflect the attitudes of the social elite and not the common people. Yeah. Indeed, the average person likely did not share the beliefs of the elites, though prejudices definitely pervaded into commoner populations, much like today.
I agree with this, and finally, some statements that make sense. Of course, if you're reading a philosopher, if you're reading a nobleman or an aristocrat, it doesn't automatically share the... automatically doesn't mean that every single person from ancient Greece thinks that way. In fact, oftentimes, the very philosophers disagree with each other pretty strongly indeed.
With all this in mind, we will tackle the past's complexities as holistically as possible. Authors in antiquity held a variety of views of ethnicity and race, wildly diverging in space and time. However, one consistent trope that does emerge from ancient writing is a form of environmental determinism, or the notion that the climate sets up people's traits and behavior into stereotyped others.
Same for the
For instance, in the Archaic period, Hesiod's Theogony discusses monstrous races of people living on the corners of the known world, a pattern that has continued in later authors such as Herodotus and Ctesias, who describe bizarre races such as a breed of one-legged people with one massive foot living in India. Such stories show that the Greeks thought that extreme climates, different from their own, produced different kinds of people, to the extent of changing their physical image.
I mean, they were right. Not for the single-legged leg, and there is more than that, actually. Yeah, but climate is, well, not just climate, but in general, a way to adapt to certain conditions, shape our phenotypic traits. So it's not that they were completely wrong.
These accounts are, of course, based on nothing more than tall tales, but the environmental determinism shines in Hesiod's pessimistic view of human society. His Theogony describes the 5 ages, with its own race of humans, called gold, silver, copper, heroic, and iron, being the current one. Much like the Yugas in Hinduism, showing progressive degeneration of human quality of life, Hesiod sets out a view that human lives become worse over the generations, with the golden race under the Titan Kronos being eternally young, contrasting with the iron race, which had no connection to the gods. The 5 races are defined by their physical traits, which correspond to their virtue or behavior. He also, in his account of the flood of Deucalion, mentions how the Greeks are descended from the last of the copper race, Deucalion and his wife Pyrrha. This flood myth postulates that Zeus sent a flood that purged the copper race from the earth due to their destructive nature. As the only 2 survivors of this cataclysm, Deucalion and Pyrrha repopulated the earth in 2 ways. One was by throwing stones behind them that turned into humans, creating the other nations of the earth, while the other was them giving birth to Helenus, who is considered the first ancestor of all the Greeks. Helenus's children and grandchildren would bear names like Ion, Aeolus, or Achios, and were considered to be the progeny of the various sub-tribes of the Greeks, like the Ionians, Aeolians, and Achaeans. The implication is that Greeks have a distinct racial background from other peoples, having come from Deucalion and not formed out of stones. The differences between different groups of humans were interpreted in various contrasting ways by a multitude of ancient authors. Aristotle believed that non-Greeks were, like enslaved peoples in Greece, inherently servile, and therefore deserved to be ruled by Greeks. Aristotle's most famous...
Of course, that is a political position and usually can be used as a justification. We do find this, though, this idea of, well, we are the best and everyone else is not as good as us. It's literally everywhere, particularly in this period.
This theory, the golden mean, or the idea that virtue is found between extreme values, is actually used to justify his Greco-supremacist way of thinking by way of the aforementioned theory of environmental determinism. In Aristotle's school of thought, people in hot climates, such as the Ethiopians, were too servile, while people in cold climates, such as the Northern Europeans, were too reckless. In contrast, the Greeks, who lived in moderate climates, were the ideal human beings.
That's pretty much the same that the Romans say. They do go a little further than that when they discuss the differences, because at the end of the day, this is actually an interesting representation to how the Romans saw the world. And they do use colors to describe this. The Romans, as the Mediterraneans, they also say we are masters of the world because we are in the perfect medium. Climatically, it's very similar. Of course, they swap it with the Greeks, but I guess it's the same concept. But the Romans do say they call themselves white. There is this passage and says, so there are three kinds of people. White, that's us. So that's how the Mediterraneans refer to themselves. Then there is Ethiopians, and they mean black people. In fact, when they say Ethiopians, they don't just mean black people from Ethiopia. They mean all black people. It's used Aethiopian. It's used for all people that were black. And then the Nordic types, they are referred to as blondes. The blondes. Isn't that interesting? And so, yeah, there is whites, blacks, and blondes. So whites, Ethiopians, and blondes is how the Romans differentiated different people. This is just to underline also and respond to those people that say
separating and hating everyone equally.
Exist. Well, it's not the same concept of Benjamin Franklin, but the word was used by the Romans to identify themselves precisely.
Succumbing neither to sycophantic servility nor barbaric brutality, yielding to neither extreme. Hippocrates, one of Greece's most important physicians, was a major proponent of this theory and applied it to ethnic groups across the world. As Aristotle also shows other forms of prejudice, such as classism and sexism, this means that he considers these to be physical distinctions as well. As an example, he considers slaves to have inherent physical and mental differences from non-slaves.
When it comes to sexism, I mean, who wouldn't be sexist? If you really want to use... That's the problem with using terminology that it's modern, because it comes packaged with certain expectations in our view of reality. Saying the ancient Greeks were sexist because they thought this and they thought that. Yeah, of course. For instance, women couldn't vote in ancient Greek democracy. It's democracy, but they couldn't vote. Different from modern democracy. But wasn't everyone sexist then at this point? Who's not sexist? You can go to any continent in this period. Tell me who is not sexist. It's... I mean, I'm sure you wait 500 years from now. Let's see what we are to them.
And that this supposedly justifies their enslavement. When applied to foreigners, this suggests to Aristotle that they are inherently servile and that Greeks should rule over them.
You know what? I'm going to call it on the stream for now. I'll be back later. I'm going to take a little nap. And when the family gets home, hang out with them a little bit, and then I'll be on stream later, I think. My eyes are just heavy and exhausted. Medicine's kicking in from this morning. Usually what happens anyway around this time. Alright. Thank you everyone for turning up.